How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. Now, on today's show, we're going to be talking about PSG because 3 of their players have tested positive for COVID-19. We're also going to be talking about Barcelona because new manager Ronald Koemans is looking at bringing in Wijnaldum to help with his revolution. And the last piece of news involves Hector Bellerin because PSG have made an offer for the Arsenal defender.
I represent my fucking self.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right.
So the first place we're going to start was that breaking news yesterday that 3 PSG players have tested positive for coronavirus. Paredes, Di Maria and Neymar. And it's not great news. And they're all on holiday in Ibiza. They've came back and in the first round of testing, they've all tested positive. Now, PSG, their season has been delayed as it is because of their Champions League excursions. And it's meant to actually begin on September the 10th, which is next week. But you've got to ask the questions now as to whether that will actually go ahead or not. 2 big players for them, in particular, Neymar and Di Maria. And they're going to continue with their testing, but it's not great for them. And I suppose we're seeing a lot of this at the moment, not just with PSG players, but even players with the Premier League. Once the seasons had finished and the players were then allowed to go and, live their lives and just do normal things, they weren't under the strict guidelines of, the clubs that they were when they were in the middle of the football campaign, for example. They, were monitored constantly. The clubs knew where they were, what they were doing, etc, etc. But as soon as the season's finished, they can go off, be with their families, see their friends, go on holidays and everything else. And obviously Spain, it's a country that's had its problems with COVID. Ibiza as well, normally a party island, but it certainly hasn't been a party this year. And they've come back and they've tested positive. And yeah, like I say, this is one of the issues with it being pre-season. A lot of players are actually friends outside of football. And when I say players, I mean players from rival clubs. We've seen it with Premier League players that play for Aston Villa and Leicester, Chelsea, etc. They all meet up and they all, get on well together. So you don't know what's actually going on. And it ain't until they come back to their respective clubs, they have their testing, and then they realise they've caught COVID. And you're looking at it and you're thinking, okay, well, what happens now? And it all just seems so weird. It seems like everybody seems to be picking up COVID somewhere along the line. There's always 2 or 3 at a club and everything else. But there doesn't seem to be that severity. That real high number that we were having initially when the outbreak first happened and everything else. But I suppose this kind of reiterates the point that we all have to be careful at the moment. We all have to be cautious and we all have to be mindful that COVID's not gone anywhere. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with PSG and whether their season will start next week, whether they will do a second round of testing before then and it will be negative. And we will wait and see over the next few days. But at the moment, Neymar and Di Maria, they're not going to be playing no part, and we wish them well. Next piece of news involves Barcelona, and new manager Ronald Koemans has identified Gini Wijnaldum from Liverpool as his next transfer target at the Nou Camp. Of course, he's going to want to go in there and make his mark and stamp his authority, and whatever's going to go and happen with Leno Messi, I don't know. I'm seeing so many different stories a day and it's hard to believe what is actually going on, what is true, what is false. But of course, the link between these two, for people that don't know, is of course Ronald Koeman was manager at Holland and Wijnaldum is Dutch. So that's where they know each other from, and he's obviously managed him. Wijnaldum is 29 years old now. He has 1 year left on his contract. He's in his final year Liverpool at the moment have not started negotiations for a new contract. And Jurgen Klopp has recently said that he's quite relaxed about the situation and he's not really too worried. Now, whether that's because Liverpool are just not going to offer him a contract and maybe just let him run out the next year, or whether they might try and get a bit of money. Be interesting to see how much they get if they actually do sell him. Because Liverpool always seem to get ridiculous amounts of money for players that don't seem to be worth that price. You know, not talking about the likes of Coutinho, for example. I'm on about players like the one that they sold to Bournemouth. That was just ridiculous amounts of money. And Liverpool always seem to be able to do it. They seem to sell players that don't really look like they're worth anything for lots. And it's baffling. They've got one hell of a negotiator. So it'd be interesting to see how much he goes for if they do sell him. But Barcelona, is this really where they want to go to, you know, elevate themselves back to the top? I suppose with Ronald Koeman, he's looking at building a base, looking at getting players in that he knows and trusts, and then he can start building from them. But the problem is with the Barcelona faithful is that they want results and they want results now. And they won't look at it as Ronald Koeman's come in and he's building something and they'll give him 3-4 years. They'll look at it and say, right, you're in here, you're at Barcelona, go win us the Champions League and La Liga this season. End of. And that's what it's like at clubs like Barcelona. You could actually win La Liga and fail in the Champions League and you're sacked. Imagine winning your league, your actual domestic league. You are the champions and you get sacked over what is effectively a cup competition. Crazy when you think about it like that. But we'll wait and see what happens with Ronald Koeman and whether he will bring in Wijnaldum and whether Liverpool will sell him, and if so, how much for. Last piece of news involves Hector Bellerin, and reports were saying yesterday that PSG have made contact with Arsenal and have offered £30 million for the defender. And Bellerin is one of Arsenal's longest serving players now. He's been here a very, very long time. And I suppose this is one of them. It's going to cause a bit of a debate as to where you sit with this. Me personally, if we're getting offered over £30 million and we can invest the money in areas that I think need strengthening, then I'm all for it. I think that Bellerin's been here for a very long time. I don't think he's ever reached the potential that he once had. The injury hasn't helped. I just think that we can do better. I just think that he doesn't really fit the style and the way that we want to play. And sometimes things become a little stale. Not in a bad way, but just, you know, you need a fresh face. You need new blood. And that also goes with Hector Bellerin. He might want a new challenge and a new life. And, you know, outside of football, going to Paris, the fashion capital of the world, he would absolutely love it in Paris. All them catwalks and everything else that he could go to, because outside of football, that is his passion, and fair play to him. But it's an interesting one. And like I said, if they're offering like 15, 20 million, you turn around and say, get out of here. No chance. When you're offering over 30 odd million pounds, that's near enough the fee for a Thomas Partey. Let's think about it logically for a second here. And the injury, like I said, it hasn't helped. It's definitely set him back. And I think it's actually, you know, made him worse. And he's not ever rediscovered that form. And some people will say that he done well under Mikel Arteta towards the end of the season and everything else. And I'd say, yeah, but could he do that consistently over the course of a season? When has he consistently done that over the course of the season? You've got to look at all his time in the first team and say never. He's not really. He burst on the scene. He had some great moments. And then it kind of went downhill. I don't know whether that was the problems within the team, the manager himself, whatever it might be. We don't know the ins and outs. And it's a very interesting one. But for me, I would take £30+ million all day long, if I'm being honest. Spend the money where we need to spend it. Invest elsewhere. That's the way I'm looking at it. I'm looking for the future and the bigger picture. And that's what I think everyone else should do as well. But interesting. So there we go. That is it for today's DT's Daily. As usual, let me know in the comment section what you think about today's topics. What do you think about Wijnaldum to Barcelona? Does that seem like a bit of a strange one or a logical one? And also this Hector Bellerin situation. Arsenal fans, what do you think? Do you think that we should cash in, get that money right now and go and invest it in a Thomas Partey, for example? Or do you think that we should give Hector Bellerin a chance? Let me know in the comment section. So if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you smash a like on this video. And I'll see you lot soon. I'm out of here.